Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, so today we will be doing middle match. How many of you have read middle match? Hello?
Good
Yes,
evening,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So how many of you have read middle match? Okay. Okay. So talking about the uh, author George Eliot. So George Eliot and her novels. So Mary Ann Evans, who is otherwise known as George Eliot, was born in Warwickshire in 1890. Sweetie, are you not able to hear me?
Hello. Sir, it's not audible.
It's not audible. Please check with your connections.
Yes, sir. Sir, which topic you are teaching today?
We are doing middle march today.
Okay, sir.
Just a minute.
Sir, your voice is not audible.
No, I'm just trying to. Just a minute, wait. know what's happening with this. Okay. Yes. So, so as I said, she was born at Warwickshire in 1819 and spent the early years of her life with her father as an estate agent. So, and her brother Isaac. So, from childhood, you find she showed an unusual aptitude for, study and was far ahead of her brother in academic achievement. And at the age of 22, she went with her father to Coventry and soon began, to free herself from the narrow religious outlook which bound her family. And she later, came into contact with thinkers like, Francis Newman, Herbert Spencer, and was deeply influenced by their philosophy. So she then, met George Henry Lewis and defying, the Victorian convention, lived with him for the rest of her life. And in fact, poverty and misfortune dogged them for a while, but Lewis recognized her superior, intellect and encouraged her with praise and devotion. And inspired by him in 1857, uh, you find she wrote scenes from the clerical life, and Adam Bede appeared in 1859, and The Mill on the Flush, which is largely the autobiographical in 1860. So both the novels were very, well acclaimed, as also her Silas Manor, which was published in 1861, and Romola, which was published in 1863, Felix Holt in 1866, and Middlemarch between 1871 and 72, and then was Daniel Deronda, which was published in 1873. So, of all the women novelists of the 19th century, George Eliot was the most learned in her creative achievements and the most adult. And she was a rationalist and was interested her, what interested her above all were the human motives that she tried to explore and comprehend. So she tried to analyze the thoughts of her characters to probe their deepest desires, and while doing so displays a deep compassion and understanding of human nature. Thus, you find George Eliot's novels contains numerous examples of subtle psychological, study. So this is all about the you know writer George Eliot. So talking about the novel, before talking about the novel, George Eliot is also uh, is a novelist who wrote in the 18th century in England. But unlike you find Dickens, her characters are more rounded and develop and grow throughout the novel. So you find she presents them from a psychological point of view, and in often regarded, as among the earliest modern novelists. Also, you find in Middlemarch, she not only mentions but also writes in the context of contemporary historical developments like the Reform Bill, and she's also unique in the fact that her novel is infused not only with a moral vision but also with a deep sense of compassion. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Audible but not so clear.
Sir, some are waiting. Can you please tell the Archie to make let them in?
Yeah. Okay. I think anybody there from the RC, can you please let the students in there waiting? Yeah, somebody said something I couldn't hear. Uh,
Sir, Param, I guess.
Param, yes, yes, Param. Hello. Param, are you
Excuse
there?
me. Yeah, excuse me.
Yes, yes, Param.
Voice not so clear like yesterday. Very feeble.
Is it so? Are
Yes,
you not able to hear me? Hello,
I
everyone?
I can hear, but not sharp.
Yes, sir. There is some problem, but it's okay.
Sir, but
Okay.
I can hear you
You are
clearly, sir.
sir. Sir, I
I,
can hear
I
you
think you
clearly.
need to check, those who are not able to hear, you need to check your connection because I have,
But I think there's a connection issue from your end too.
uh, okay, but I have to the full network. I don't know.
Yes, sir. No, sir. I can hear you clearly, sir. Your voice is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
audible, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay, let's continue. If it breaks, we'll see.
Sir, we can hear you, but the throwing is like little soft. That is the issue. I think so.
Okay.
I hope you got my point. Like we are loud and clear like this, so
Now is it
that
clear?
maybe that.
Now is it clear?
No,
Is it
sir,
better
it's the
now?
same, sir.
It's the same only.
I don't know how
It can be due
to.
to the placement of the mic. Like I hope
That is what
everyone is audible. I mean, I'm audible to everyone, and whatever I'm saying is clear, coming out crystal. That way.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's I don't know. It's about the audibility. Yeah, that's it. That's what we are saying. Like that, we are expecting. Somewhere like that.
Okay, I have placed, the mic very close to means my mouthpiece is very close. I cannot adjust anymore. This is the
No, sir, you are audible. It's just
It's
technical
okay, sir.
glitch
You can
only.
continue, sir.
okay. Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, sir, it's fine. Better. Yes.
Yeah. So the social background of the novel, if we talk about the social background of the novel, Middlemarch is concerned with the time period of about 2.5 decades, beginning with the 1920s, and the period covered is one in which there were many political reforms, the most significant of which was the Reform Bill in 1832. So other factors like the increase in the number of factories and coming up of the railways suggests that it was a society undergoing rapid change, and through the landed gentry still, commanded the most respect. Other professions were, gaining prominence, like, for example, the doctors, uh, the, the physicians and the surgeons, and lawyers, traders, all these people. So it was a very, very class conscious society in which those of noble birth were, still and the highest on the social ladder, and where, there is a gulf between the town and the country. So man had to function and interact among institutions like the church, marriage, money, um, politics, then labor, all these things. So, all these had a very strong moral thread running through them. And George Eliot has interwoven it with the stories and characters to bring about the best, possible effect. And if you find that women, women occupied an interior position in the society. So they were expected to, remain in background and fulfill their domestic duties, and did not have, any say in the legal or property matters. So they were not expected, to be intelligent or assertive, but ornamental as well as, useful. And all these factors give the reader the impression, that um, individual lives were influenced by their personal choices, but also the socio-economic factors which were prevalent during that time. Yes, Rajashri? Rajashri Giri, do you have anything to ask? Rajashri, can you hear me?
No, sir, nothing. Sorry, by mistakenly it is done.
Please take care when you are inside the class, because when you're raising a hand, I'm getting a notification.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, did you understand how this novel has been set during that period of time? Did you all understand? Do you have any questions till this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So, should we go ahead? So, looking at, George Eliot's, George Eliot's treatment of characters, we find the main characters, Cassiobon, is a very, cold and remote figure at pains to give an impression of dignity and learning. Uh, Celia sees through his, pretentiousness, and finds him ugly and pompous. But poor, deluded, Dorothea is, taken in by his reserve into, thinking that this vain, dry clergyman is an intellectual, a man of letters, and he imagines that in Dorothea he has found a suitable wife, as she will admire him and be a wife, hostess, and even a secretary. So you find that he cannot, understand her, way of approach and the enthusiasm, because He's unemotional and very, self-occupied. So her intelligence and perception that he himself distrusts his ability to complete his work, makes him conscious of his failure, and his resentment at this realization makes him retire deeper into his shell, and he is, a very lonely man. And you find Casaubon's jealousy towards Ladislaw arises out of his feelings of inadequacy. And Ladislaw is everything. He is not, very young, enthusiastic, and above all, very unafraid. So he will he is another example of his jealousy, of his possessiveness, because he dimly foresees the possibility of Dorothea and marrying Ladislaw, and wishes to prevent it even after his death. Unlike this, Casaubon um, Lydgate's intelligence and learning are very genuine. And you find, like Dorothea, he is a person who holds great promise, but has to rest content with very ordinary achievements. And as a surgeon with excellent training who hopes to combine medical work with research in physiology, he is undoubtedly above ordinary people in intelligence and work. So you find, but he is, a very conscious of all these things, and it is this consciousness as well as his materialistic tendencies which make him a lesser individual. So Ledget's affair with the French actress and his marriage to Rosamond indicates that he seems to have a weakness for vain, beautiful women. But his good nature is, genuine, as is seen in his relationship with his patients and colleagues. And you find success, recognition, prestige, all these were very important to him. But he is not very aggressive, not very, hard and tough. But in fact, you see that he is swayed by sentiments and also, suffers from pangs of consciousness. For example, if you say when he, accepts money from Bulstrode. So when he falls in love with Rosamond, he does not, see uh, through her wiles, and it is only after their marriage that he realizes that, under her beauty, um, he, his selfishness, and is a very, he forgives Rosamond for her, petty scheming, and becomes resigned of to her egoism and her, determination to have her own way. And you find when Lydgate, fails to achieve his, ambition of being an affluent, renowned surgeon, he is bitterly, disillusioned and resorts to dishonesty, and the fear of exposure, haunts him. So it is particularly important, you find, for him to present the image of a respectable man of medicine, since a good reputation will help him to further his career by establishing a good practice in the elite society. So Will Ladislaw is the representative of the a world outside Middlemarch, and the antithesis of Cassiubon, being unlike him in all the possible ways. And you find he is the grandson of a woman who rebelled against the Cassiubon's value of money and class. So his father was a musician and mother was an actress. And while he was in, Dillet, he was he basically rejects the superficial liberalism of Mr. Brooke and has not yet found you know um, um, his vocation, and he sympathizes with Dorothea and regards her marriage to Mr. Casaubon as a horrible sacrifice, and later falls in love with her, you know himself. So this is how Eliot has presented his her male characters in the text. Babita, do you have any questions? Babita Basu.
No, sir.
Okay, you had raised your hand, so that is why.
No, sir. By default, that happened by mistake. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So, coming to the women characters, are you all getting me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're getting you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the if you see the women characters, Eliot in Eliot's Middlemarch is very well acclaimed for her compassionate, delineation of the characters and subtly, of the psychological analysis. So Dorothea Brooke is a fine instance of this. We can say, little information is given about the environment in which, she grows up, but she's deprived of a security of a happy family as her parents, are dead, and Mr. Brooke, the only substitute for parent, is a tolerant uncle who lets everyone, have their way because you know opposition causes him too much trouble. So Dorothea is an idealist, and her idealism is misplaced because she wants to do good and great things in a world of which she is ignorant. But she is a misfit in the narrow provincial society where women were expected to be submissive and accept the role assigned to them without aspiring for more. So if she has visions of being the partner in accomplishment of a great work, and her misguided notions which lead her into committed the grave mistake of marrying Casaubon, and her childlike ideas about marriage, sort of, and her inability to see the obvious, brings about disillusionment and unhappiness to her, and she wants, to be needed and appreciated by Cassiubon because he is the only person she looks up to, and she feels that other people are ordinary and mediocre. So you find this wish remains unfulfilled because Casaubon is always aloof of and unapproachable, and Dorothea is doomed, to a life of loneliness and misery. So, with the death of Cassius, comes to the final blow, the uh, codicil to the will, and which is, the ultimate insult she has to bear. And her marriage, the quite ordinary will Ladislaw, and willingness to give up Cassius's property uh, is clearly is an attempt to come out of her loneliness, which uh, and to establish a very close relationship with another human being. So giving up uh, her noble ideas of doing good and great things, she settles down to a fife of humdrum domesticity. So you find Rosamond, uh, when the other hand is a very self-centered product of a ladies' academy, and the spoiled daughter of the Vinci family, and you find she is discontented with the narrow, dull life of Middlemarch, and treats her eager suitors with contempt because her heart is set on getting away to London. So in her disdain, when she deliberately remains aloof from the people around her, whom she regards as commonplace and is very unrefined. And in this, she is somewhat similar to Dorothea, who also regards herself as superior to others. But whereas you find Dorothea is a victim of, deluded and impractical ideas, and Rosamond is, deliberately selfish and calculating. So the arrival of Lydgate arouses her interest because she hears of his, connection with an aristocrat family, and marriage to, him is her means of escaping from an environment which is unsuited to her, supposedly superior accomplishments to a life of social importance. So she is very, determined to marry him, and set out to charm him by showing off her pretty talents. And Rosamond's, um, obstinacy, you can see, which Eliot at first hints at, is, seen clearly once she's engaged to Lydgate, and she's soon disillusioned with Lydgate when she sees that their marital life is troubled by financial problems. So later she flirts with Ladislaw because it diverts her mind from her displeasure with Lydgate, and you know though she is not unfaithful to her husband, she wants to keep other men to herself as her admirers. So Lydgate, resentment and jealousy also seen by her as a tribute to her womanhood and personal charm. And as their marriage deteriorates further, Lydgate also sees her obstinacy and her inability to accept reality, her the what you can say, the extravagance that you see, and her air of disdain if she does not get her own way. And you find as Lydgate's trouble increases, then you find so does Rosamond's lack of concern for them. And Rosamond almost destroys the relationship between Dorothea and Ladislaw, but later behaves unlike her very usual self by telling Dorothea about the nature of Ladislaw's visit to her, and thereby clearing the way for her for their love. So this is one, rare instance which when, she moves out of her selfishness to help a, fellow woman in trouble. But soon she goes back to her usual stand of selfishness, and this is why you find Lidgett calls her as a basil plant. Do you know what is a basil plant? Anyone?
सर तुलसी का पौधा।
Yes, yes,
तुलसी।
yes, yes. So, so you find. So, what do you think that? What sort of a character is Casaubon? I'll give you four options. I'll give you four options. He's very humble. He's very he's very social. He's very pretentious. He's very honest.
He's very pretentious. You're talking about that Casaubon's right,
Yes,
sir?
Casaubon. Yes.
Character. The husband of Dorothea.
Yeah.
सर
Yeah, he pretended to be someone,
यस
but
सर
in reality, after marriage, he was somebody else. So he's more of a pretentious person.
Okay. Yes, correct. And what about Lidgett? Lidgett is a very aggressive person, a very um, successful person, very tough person, or a very materialistic person.
Ambitious and I think so materialistic.
Um, well, he's
सर
a
आई थिंक
kind
ही इज टू
person by nature,
एम्बिशियस।
but
Mm.
sir, I feel that he is successful, he's humble, but then the ideology he was having was a common man ideology prevailed in that point of time. So maybe he's a kind hearted person where you said that he was good to his patients, but then the social structure, the mindset of the people in those days maybe influenced on him. So that's why he was immature in aspect of, marriage or something, the ideologies of certain things. But other than that, he is a good natured person. He's not like Dorothea's first husband, like Casaubon.
Yeah, but he was, if you see, he was a little bit materialistic. Eliot's, how Eliot has presented, Lidgett was materialistic.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me.
Yes, yes, Varan.
But he was totally helpless before Rosamund Vinci because of their too much demands.
Yes. So, what are you trying to say?
That means he was weak personality.
No, no, I'm sorry, I'm not getting you, Param.
He was a weak personality. He couldn't manage Rosamund, and it proved his undoing.
Okay. So, are you telling, or you? I'm actually. Please, I'm not getting your point. Means, what are you trying to say? Is it something related to the question?
No, I want to say something extra from that.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, you are giving some information regarding him. Okay, fine.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay. So, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, let's talk about the structure of Middlemarch. So, basically, the structure, if you see, Middlemarch is often, praised for its sense of unity, despite its vast canvas, uh, the characters, the numerous characters, and their, individual stories. So George Eliot is said to have, started on a story with Lydgate as a, central character. So and is concerned with the fictional town which gave it its title. So she then started on a separate work called Miss Brooke, which grew in complexity, and she must have recognized the many similarities of the themes and settings. And by 1800 I think 71 or 72, the two stories, were fused into a single panoramic, novel. So, at the heart of the novel, if we have, these two stories of Dorothea and Lydgate, twins studied in defeated aspirations, and Dorothea, the misguided idealist who's anxious to do great good in a world that is too narrow for her, and is, trapped in a marriage to the pedantic, Casaubon. So Lydgate, who aspires to achieve glorious heights in medical research, also fails to fulfill his dreams. Why I said, materialistic is just because of this. The aspirations that he had to go to heights in the medical research, and and because you find he fails to fulfill his dreams, and has an unhappy marriage with the self-centered Rosamond, interwoven into the these main stories of those of Bulstrode, the banker and the religious hypocrite who dishonest past betrays him, and of Fred Vincy, who's a good natured but lazy, who is saved by his love for Mary Garth, and the example of her father Caleb, of Featherstone's disposition of his property. And there are several minor characters who give range and depth to the novel. So one or more of the character is in each story plays an important part in each of the other stories, which makes the novel an integrated one. So um, so you find Middlemarch um, is a provincial life, is a study of a provincial life in the 18th century England. Are you all getting me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you find, the main concern we find of Middlemarch is with the Society of Provincial England just before, the Reform Bill, as I said, which happened in 1832, and which was, rather crammed and a very narrow society. So the political climate which were brought together, through the only, which though although all these were very temporary, and people of the different class, like we have. Can you name the class of people who were there? The doctors were there. Then
Elite classes, male.
no, I'm talking about the profession, different classes. I had told you before, the bankers, the businessman, the clerical people, all these, they were the different class people. And this is a society in which, birth, rank, class are, central. So Rosamond, does not have the same social status as Miss Brooks. And though, you find Chetam and Mr. Brook, recognize Mr. Vinci as a mayor. They, cannot recognize his family. Chetam disapproves of Dorothea's marriage to Ladislaw. Can you please mute yourselves? And which does his, best to hinder it, and is only, reconciled when Celia pressurizes him after Dorothea has a baby. So at the same time, you find the Vincies, look down on the Guards because Fred is a university man, while Mary is a governess and a teacher. So in this society, you find money rules, whether it is inherited or acquired, as is seen by the position which is enjoyed by Mr. Brooke, Bulstrode, and Featherstone. Lydgate, represents the new professional man, the professional man who has, having the ideals and the enlightened attitude which threatens the position of the traditional practitioners who want to, continue with their traditional methods as well as their, malpractices. So George Eliot, comments on the narrowness of the provincial society by depicting the amount of gossip which is generated from the criticism of Casaubon by Mrs. Cadwalder, and to the people's, condemnation of Lydgate and Bulstrode without proof. So then we find, uh, the, we will, so are you all clear till this? So if you get a question, um, like discuss Middlemarch as a study of provincial life in the 18th century, will you be able to write? Am I not audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can write about
You
it.
are audible. Sir, you are audible.
Yeah. My question, okay. Was My question is, in fact, discuss Middlemarch as a study of the provincial life in the 18th century. Mazda, could you please highlight some of the points? Mazda, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Yeah. Could you please highlight, some of the points? What are the main thing that you would reflect while writing Middlemarch as a study of provincial life?
If we would talk about Middlemarch as a provincial, talking about the provincial society, we will reflect three things, in fact. We will talk about birth, rank, and class. I think these are the three important things to talk about in the 18th century, like birth, um, I mean that the two girls are orphans. Rank, when we have the different professions and the class, the upper class, la bourgeoisie, and the working classes. This is my idea about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Param, would you like to add?
The low status of women.
No status of women. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir, I forgot the status of women too.
Yes. Anybody else?
Emergence of new profession like Gates medicine profession, and because rapid industrialization and factories were coming up,
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
gave rise to a new class, that is middle class.
So basically, if you see from the point of view of the writer, you will see that the narrowness which has been reflected by Eliot. So you must mention that also. Yes, Anugya Sampanna.
Yes, sir. Actually, in Middlemarch, it shows the society of 18th century where women were uh, deprived. Na? Their Dorothea and Roosevelt's marriage. They are the two type of the marriage which reflects Roosevelt's जो greediness is showing here, and Dorothea, she want to do something for the society also. And this much only I want to say.
Okay, okay, yeah, that is what Param also said, like the status of women. Yeah, okay. So, coming to some of the themes, do you have any questions till this?
Sir, I just wanted to ask you one thing. These Dorothea and Celia are two sisters, and Celia is somebody who can see through the facade of her husband, Dorothea's husband, whereas Dorothea herself couldn't make that out because she was blinded by mm, uh, his aura, or the kind of that's something that she wanted to follow, or she thought that she was going to gain something from him. So can't we say that it is Dorothea's fault that she could not see through, or she could not recognize? She was so blinded by her idea of being a part of his knowledge or his work, that she did not realize that he's not the right man to get married to.
No, I couldn't get your explanation. You are talking about Dorothea's understanding about
Uh, Kasauban. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name properly. Her husband,
Cassibon. Cassibon.
Casaubon.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Does she know? Is
Means
she
math.
is she so blinded by her idea of being a part of his work or be assisting him, that she did not realize that he's not the right kind of a person for her, because she did not look at it from that perspective. Her only idea was to kind of be with him just for whatever work he was doing, and to assist him, or to gain more knowledge, or to succeed more in that. She did not think of him as a life partner, and maybe that's why she suffered. So is she to blame for her the troublesome married life that she had with him?
Probably because it was, it was the disappointment of Dorothea, regarding the marriage, and she comes to doubt both, his talent and his alleged, magnum opus. So further, you find, controlling Cassiopom becomes jealous, when she develops a friendship with, Ladislaw, his, idealistic cousin. So, and there are many things. Probably you can say, Dorothea. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably we can say that it was uh, it was she was probably blinded towards that. That is why and that is why she suffered for that.
Okay, sir. Means I just wanted to know that. Thank you so much.
Any let us take some more answers from others. Yes, anybody would like to answer?
Yes, sir. About the
Yes.
themes.
Yeah.
I would like to mention like three major themes. We have the defeated aspirations. We have Dorothea and Lydgate are the best examples for this theme. We have the love and marriage. We have the failed marriages of Castlebourne and Rosamond marriage. We have the successful marriages, Celia Chita, Dorothea Ladislaw, and Fred Mary marriages. And there is another theme, which is the search for one's true vocation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, so we will talk about. Okay, so let us come to the themes. First, we'll talk about women. How George Eliot, in Middlemarch, talks, focuses on women. So uh, you find in the 18th, early, 19th century, there was an environment in which typical gender roles were very strictly enforced. So you find Middlemarch mostly focuses on the way that expectations are particularly very restrictive and suffocating for women, and this is explored mostly, notably, through the novel's central character, Dorothea, who dreams of a grand, intense, and a very meaningful life that is fundamentally very incompatible with the role society which has prescribed, which was prescribed for her. But as a result, she becomes confused about that what she really wants to make, some bad life decisions, and that only serve to further isolate her from her true self and her desires. So though Dorothea, the novel implicitly, uh, criticizes or talks about the expectations from, from the society and society's places on women, and you find at the same time, you find it also shows that any resistance is very inherently limited as an alternative way to for the living for women at the time, simply which did not exist. So as a heroine, you find Dorothea is deeply sympathetic. She is ambitious, she is very idealistic, and she's very free spirited, kind yet, but you find she's these admirable aspects of her personality makes it difficult for her to conform to the gender norms of the society which she lives in. So you find that she is somewhere, you find that she's a half-hearted attempt to suppress her own desires, and personality leads her to exist in a confused and a self-contradictory state. So, and you find this shows that gender roles have the effect on alienating women for themselves. So yeah, Dorothea, attempts to, resolve the internal conflicts that she, feels between her desire and societal, gender roles by marrying, much older Reverend Edward Casaubon. And because, Casaubon is a scholar working on a very highly ambitious project on religious history. And she believes that, she can access to the intensity and the greatness that she craves through, him. And when Dorothea, decides to marry Casaubon, the people around her are very, confused and predict that the marriage will not bring her, happiness. But they can see that Dorothea herself cannot, she is both, suppressing her own nature and trying to achieve the impossible by living through her future husband. So Dorothea also claims that she wants a husband who can, be like a father to her and teach her about things. And however, you see, Mr. Brooke, points out that she's a strong-willed person attached to her own, opinions, and marrying, Casaubon is recipe for disaster. So you find it is painful to witness, to see that Dorothea, make such a, you know mm, bad sort of decision that she took in her life, which ends up making her miserable. And at the same time, we find the novel's exploration of gender norms shows that Dorothea's decision to marry Casaubon is, not made out of mere foolishness. So you find Dorothea is trapped by the, conflict between her own impulses and, the society's expectation of her as a woman. So the misery of her, marriage to Casaubon is only a symptom of, this wider, problem. So when Casaubon dies, you find Dorothea has a chance to reevaluate her life, and though her, second marriage to Ladislaw ends, up choosing a path that brings her far greater happiness and fulfillment. This shows that it is better to, stay true to oneself, that than, to attempt to, conform these to the society's restrictive ideals of how, women should behave. And you see, at the other end, you find Dorothea's ultimate fate as a housewife and, and mother reminds, readers that there is only, so much women who can, resist gender roles in the society, and that has so few rights, which resources and opportunities available to the women. So Dorothea loves Ladislaw, and but, her own dream, such as, the cottages and colony, she planned to build for the tenant farmers. This remain unrealized at the end of the novel, and the narrator observes, finds, um, very substantial kind of, um, uh, life, which uh, which was um, circling around as a wife, as a mother, and a mother. So you find this captures the difficulty of the situation Dorothea and the other strong-willed women of the time, which find, themselves in, and they desire a richer and a more expansive life than that of wife and daughter. But the reality is that there is basically no, alternative for them. And we find, even if they rebel against the gender norms of the era, there is only so much that, this rebellion can achieve. So then we have, class. As I have already said, class is one of the themes. Class, you find, you know, mm, focusing on the lives of the small group of characters. Middlemarch is about an entirely, the fictional town of the novel's title. So you find the book is also set, 30 years before it was written, and then the full of the details about this important, period in the English history. So the novel subtitle, A Study of the Provincial Life, uh, indicates that the book intends to give readers a sense of what provincial life is, and is like during this period, during which the class system remained both highly rigid and extremely, prominent, as a way of, structuring uh, pretty and well a very, every part of the society. So this, when we talk about this provincial life, which is, further, it is defined by the fact that the characters are all connected to one another in a very complex, familial, marital, political, professional, manner. And you see this close, aspect of the community has very positive dimension overall. Overall, the, novel condemns the way that the small communities like Middlemarch can also foster, the small mindedness, the pettiness, and the intense social hierarchies. Then we also have, money, as greed, as one of the themes, because money, and you find money and the lack of it cause many problems for the characters in the Middlemarch. So some characters are, obsessed with money, whereas others burn it, and you find the novel strongly, indicates that it is better not to obsess over money and to focus on the other forms of fulfillment. So at the same time, you find it also, becomes clear that it is impossible not to care about money at all, but you find it is necessary to survive. Money is required, but it is required for survival. But money is also a major factor in the social hierarchy of the Middlemarch. So, for this reason, it cannot be ignored. So you find, some of the, mm, characters who were involved. The novel presents a variety of ways in which the money issues have been damaging. It has ruined the people's life. And one way, through gambling and debt, Fred Vinci gambles and becomes, indebted to the, local horse dealer, Mr. Bambridge, who's a situation, he at first does not take seriously, but because he has always been able to rely on his father's money. And so you find, money has been a problematic impact on people's life. Is, though, the greed stimulated by the possibility of inheritance, and this is the best, way through which Mr. Featherstone's, funeral, when all his many relatives, some were very distant, assembled to hear the reading of his will. And this scene, brings out the very words in assembled characters, rather than, focusing on the mourning Featherstone, or even just, maintaining dignity during the reading of the will, which they greedily, obsess over how much, they will inherit from him. And this, illustrated by the description of Fred Vinci biting his cheeks to stop himself from smiling when he learns of his inheritance. So when you find the second version of Featherstone's will is read, stipulating, that the beneficiaries will not actually, receive what they were promised in the first will. The anger that that comes out shows, greed, which brings out the ugliest side of people. So you see, even Lidgate, getting, along with Bolster's money, and Ladishlaw refusing, money. Had refused, money Bulstrode offered him, precisely. So this is how, so many examples where, all these things, money as a, theme has been presented in the text. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And just a thought, though
Yes,
the thought throughout the movie is throughout the book is about money, and the idea that people are doing everything for their social status, but towards the end, the only thing that prevails is good sense. That Dorothea decides to, give up all that to lead a, kind of live the rest of her days in happiness rather than spending,
Yes,
waiting
yes,
back
yes.
and staying back for the money.
Mm-hmm. See, probably that is a, that is a realization.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone else? Yes, yes, Mazda. Mazda, your hands are raised. I can see.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I think that Middlemarch is a reflection of the Victorian society, as
Correct.
the Victorian society was organized hierarchically,
Mhm.
while the race, religion, region, and occupation were all meaningful aspects of identity, which we find in all the characters of this book. Because the Victorian society, classification was according to gender and class, like women and men, upper class, middle class, working classes, and where we find the farmers. They try to abandon their farms, and they want to move to towns and cities, and they want to get richer, especially when we have the cotton farmers and the industry of cotton, and because they explored new lands, and they began this shipment between England and other countries. So everybody is thinking about wealth and money, and they want
There
to
is,
get richer.
greed. That is why, you find that greed
Yes,
for money is always, it has been reflected by Eliot in the.
yes. In fact, it's agreed between members of the society, and even politically, as the kingdom wants to get new lands and new countries, and we have the idea of the Commonwealth, which
Mhm.
starts to be a fact.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Anybody else would like to add? Yes, this government, is someone called government something. I can only see the name government.
Government High
Yes, sir.
School.
Yeah, please
Hello,
rename.
sir.
Yeah, yeah, please, yes.
Sir, actually, I think, in my
Go
opinion,
ahead.
the novel became a
Mm.
highly reflective and discursive piece of writing concerning human conduct, evaluation of human activities, other else, cause of effect of the society.
Yes. Can you please illustrate your points?
In my opinion, sir, this novel is
Yeah.
a very prospective and become a highly reflective and discursive piece of writing. It reflects the
Yeah.
whole part of society and the status of women, status of women in society. In my opinion, sir, it's my only opinion.
Yes. Yeah. That yes,
Okay,
correct.
that's all.
Fine. That we have already discussed. Yeah. Okay. So, coming to you find, throughout the novel, the voice of the narrator is very obvious because, besides being, omniscient, it makes moral judgments on all the events and people. And Eliot is very impartial in analyzing Dorothea and Lydgate as well as, Bulstrode and Casaubon, as her comment are very ironic as well as, you know, um, compassionate, and her characters make psychological journey from delusion to self-realization. Preeti, what you said.
Yes, sir.
Preeti, yeah. So the self-realization is very important, and that is what Eliot has shown in her text. And uh, to it is to her credit, you find that she makes a very realistic one to the readers. So and you find Middlemarch, if we see at the social background of the age, which enables us to get an idea of the canvas of on which Eliot draws her narrative. Her treatment of men and women characters show her insights in the human nature, as the feelings of compassion towards all. That is what what she said right now. And the human nature, the insights into the human nature, and the analysis of the the structure of Middlemarch, which shows that the novel appears to be rather unwieldy, and it is very carefully constructed with the two main stories of Dorothea and Lydgate being closely woven with the various subplots. And the novel also the study the provincial's life study in the 18th century through the distinction of social class, the rank in the society, which are reflected in the story. So Eliot, touches upon so many things, the several themes. As I said, women, then class, greed, money, um, then ambition, people having ambition and progress. So all these things. So this is all about the text Middlemarch. So you might get a question, Middlemarch as a psychological novel. Can you attempt the question?
Thinking, sir, how to go about answering a question like this.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
uh, we can talk about the in this question we can talk about the two stories
Yes.
in this book, the story of Dorothea and her struggle between her ambitions and what the society wants, and Lydgate and what he wants to do. and we can focus on these two characters. Um, we also can talk about uh, the um, the successful marriages and the what we say. I'm sorry, and the failed marriages,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
it reflects. In fact, it's a result of the psychological status of the couples.
yeah.
So if
Yes.
they failed, it's because there is something there between, and their personalities, they are not compatible. This is why they failed. If they are successful, because there is this alchemy between um, uh, men and women in these couples.
Correct, correct, correct,
Yes,
correct.
we can talk about the ambitions.
We can also, talk about the, Eliot's, insistence on the, ordinariness of the wedded women's, tier, which suggests the contemporary ethical, challenges that would, examine the relationship that is very, consistently producing suffering.
Yes, in fact, I think this book is like a psychological novel, as it depicts the psychological status of the majority, let's say, um, of the Victorian society at that era, since they had this conflict, political conflicts. Um, and societal conflicts which affects their psychological status. So
Correct. Yes, yes,
so
yes.
they have this conflict between what they have to believe or whom they have to follow. So this is why it's a psychological novel.
So, yeah, yeah.
This is my opinion, in fact.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The
Thank you.
psychological novel, the psychological needs, you find the you find the hierarchical triangle, which works from a lower level. So, and this lower level is nothing but the psychological, the physiological, rather, you can say, the physiological needs to a higher level, and then that higher level is something which is called the self realization. Yes, Preeti.
So I feel that the psychology, the human psychology, is very much affected by the social norms of the times,
Mhm.
like the condition of women. And the women knew that to maybe attain a certain position in the society, they would have to take help of somebody. That is why Dorothea seeks help from her husband to gain a certain position or to show her intellect. She wanted to assist him and maybe prove herself at in some way, which she kind of is not able to because he doesn't let her do that, or he is the man who does not believe in the intellectual capacity of a woman. So he does not give her that opportunity, and it is only after her fall, that is after the folly or the mistake that she makes of
Mhm.
you know wrongly analyzing the fact that he would be of any sort of help to her, that she learns it the hard way, that she will have to uh, she will have to now live her life like that, and maybe later
Mhm.
on she decides to just give it all away and go against the society's wishes and finally reach her a happy state. So the society had a lot of role to play in her spending those sad years that she did with her husband.
Yes, yes, yes. To some extent, the reflection of the human nature.
Yes, and to the same extent, the person whom she was in love with, Will, uh, is uh, is somebody that again he was also because of the society, he marries a beautiful woman who kind of leads into this situation where he is in debt, and then he also suffers, and then after his fall he realizes that he has to, how he can get to the right way and be the right person, that he he wasn't as the correct person, or a person with conscience and a person who was helpful. He comes back to his original self after having that phase where he goes his downfall during his married years, and then he rises again. So it is all how we, in spite of the fact that we have some good inside us, we get influenced by the people, by the society, and make our mistakes, and then later somehow we rise back, because it is our innate quality, or innate, to come back to our original self. We can't stay away from our innate qualities. That is my perception.
Okay. Yeah.
Will this work if I have to express it maybe in better words? Now, this is kind of impromptu. Will this kind of a response work if we have a question like this?
Yes, yes, yes. See, whatever the thing is, whatever you are trying to, relate, means whatever you're trying to talk, you must relate that to the text. Some, uh, proofs from the text.
Okay, and you mean quotes or evidence from the text?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Anu.
Yeah, sir, I want to ask one question. If we see the example of writer
Yes.
itself, because she had written the novel with her pen name, so this will be also an example of the that 18th century's psychology about man and female. I'm asking, sir.
But how does it make sense? Means I don't see any perspective.
Okay, sir. I'm just asking because she
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
write with her own name. She had written the novel with the pen name, na?
No, see, that is not justified anywhere. It is not justified. So we cannot, uh, you cannot uh, talk about. I don't know. Means that is my thought. Means how do we justify our stand? That is important.
No, sir. I
Yes,
just
master.
thought.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, master.
Yes, sir. I got the point of Anugia.
Anugya.
Anogia Samparna. Okay, I got her idea. She wants to say that the writer, the author, and the writer of this book, she's a woman, but she's using a male
Yes, sir.
name like George Eliot. So this reflects her psychological status. Means that at that time she couldn't write as a woman and saying her name because she will be belittled as most of the writers are men. So this is the gender.
I understand, but the thing is, what you are saying, uh, you, uh, uh, but, but how would you, my point is, how would you keep your justification just because that's a male name? You say that that's a male name. How do you define? Is there a definition for a male name?
No, sir. If we see the story, the novel which we come through, the whole chapter, I thought that it was
No,
my
no.
thinking that
I am not
all
telling
the
what you
women
thought is
were.
wrong.
Yes, sir.
Try to understand. What I'm saying is, when we are representing an answer, you know, uh, saying that, reflection of a male name uh, relates to the psychological thought of that process. Uh,
Yes, sir,
how-
it is. Because George, it's not Georgia. It is George. George is a man. And she is a she.
no, yes, but how do you say that? There are many names. Say Jyoti. you cannot say that Jyoti is only a female name. It cannot be a male name.
But she,
Yes, sir, this is true.
she had,
And my
she,
mama's name is also Jyoti.
Yes,
She too,
yes,
like Deep, Deep, my sister's name. So there are many names like that
no,
which
but in
goes for both.
Christianity, sir, excuse me, in
yes.
Christianity, George is a male name. It's not a female name. So even
See that.
if you see the dictionary,
Is there any instance in the text relating to her name?
no.
Uh, that is what you want to present your answer. You can present, but but my
I
point
see. I
is,
see. We talking about George Eliot's life. We are
mm,
not talking about her in this book, but she's
yes,
the
no,
point
it
is
can
that
be. Mazda, the thing is, the point that Anu has raised can be a debatable one. Um I cannot see a perspective. What you are saying, I understand, but I don't know how do you accept that perspective. That is important. So it
So,
depends upon individuals.
so I have something to share here on the
Yes.
same topic, sir.
Yeah.
So I feel, as you said, there are some names which can be, used for females and males.
Mm,
And then Majda said that George is typically a male's name,
mm,
a man's name, basically. So it
mm.
is just a hypothesis, that she's sharing her opinion that, she thought that George Eliot was not very comfortable sharing with people like that she
The
is a
name,
female character.
the old name. Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
understood. I understood
Yeah.
what she.
And so, what your question is, how will we put it in an answer? Based on psychological, grounds, how will we present it? So we can always, because I think critical thinking is encouraged nowadays. Like
Correct, correct, of course.
what
Mm.
we think of that particular situation, or
But
what we think of the character.
our thinking is based upon the text which is there, So relating to the text.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Yeah,
Now
Preeti.
I understood. That
Yeah,
means we have
Preeti.
to present
I
something to support our theory, whatever we are trying to say.
Yes, yes. That is what I am trying to, tell you. Yes, yes, Preeti.
Since she has already conveyed through Dorothea that a woman will not get her place in the society. So maybe
Mm,
she wanted to put across her point to the world to say how they were oppressing women. So the only way
mm.
out was to maybe give us have a pseudonym where she poses as a man but sends her point across to the society that women are not getting their place. So maybe some people might think of this as hypocritical that she on one side she's saying that Dorothea should she talks of women being oppressed, and then she herself is not taking the initiative of writing as a woman. But on the other hand, I feel that this is the only way that she could have put her point across, because women were thought of as lowly beings who maybe nobody would care for their thoughts. So once her book became maybe popular, once people started reading it and they realized it was written by a book, then nobody would obviously say anything.
Okay. Mm.
So that
Excuse
is
me.
my perception.
Yes, Param, yes.
Actually, this point is well discussed in MEG-5, feminism.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
this
sir.
is a real issue and it is a real prospect. But here, what the sir telling should be connected to the text. That is the problem, I think. We
Yeah,
are
that is
discussing.
what I was.
Yeah,
No, no, it's
yeah,
okay. It's okay.
yeah, yeah,
That is my perspective.
yeah, yeah.
It all depends upon your way. You can always relate to what you
Uh,
are writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, how can we then, what examples should we give if I have to convey the same idea that she was in a difficult position where she wanted to put her point across to the world, but being a woman, nobody would read her book if they saw a woman author
Yes, yes,
having
exactly.
done that.
Yes, yes,
So
that
then,
is right.
what is that we can add to a response like this that will make it more effective in terms of
Mhm.
scores in the exam?
Uh, um, See, it all depends upon the evaluator or the reader who is reading. How convinced that person becomes means based on your fact that you have given.
Okay, sir, but what more examples can I give in this to just to kind of support my response?
To this particular thing, because it has been written, what the critical analysis, your critical thinking that you can put, but I as per my knowledge, means my point of view, I don't think that that would be more, because it all views may be different. So I feel there's not much, we can't much support relating to because with the the pen name of the writer, that can be reflected in the from the text we can reflect something. Connections we can always make, talking about Dorothea, talking about Rosamund, so many things. But I don't. Probably I am not finding particular thing to support to this particular you know um, um, um,
In
point
that
of
case,
view.
sir, then
Point of view.
what can we
Yes.
say? What can we add to a question like this to prove that it is a psychological novel? What points should we kind of
So
say about
psychological novel, we have already discussed what are the things that we can talk about.
psychology of the society about why
Yes,
women find
human
it?
nature, human nature. We'll talk about the society. Of course, a woman as a gender, but then, talking about, the greed that people have as a human tendency. Yes, Param, do you
Okay, sir.
have something else to add?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
In my view, these two family lives, like there's Dorothy and Rosamond,
Mm-hmm.
the novelist clearly deals with the psychology, the clash of interest, clash of personality, and that is very good illustration of the psychological treatment of the novel.
Yeah, I'll send you a paper which is there relating to psychology as a psychology novel. There's a paper. The 2-3 papers are there. I will send you. Once, please, one of you, if you can just note and keep that. And once we finish the class, you just remind me one by one. And what I'll do is I'll send you those papers.
Yeah, yeah, okay. One more
Sir,
thing I want to add.
uh, sir, you said other novels also you will send us some presentations or something, but we have not received any yet.
I
Uh,
haven't sent. I haven't sent. I'll send only after I finish my class.
like the entire 8
Yes,
classes you've
yes,
been given.
yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
right, right, sir.
Yeah, yeah. And always the group is there. It's not just the class is over, so you can't ask. You can always ask me in the group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, Param, please.
Can I add one more thing about the novel?
Sure, sure, sure. Why not?
That is, the novelist gives very negative and defeatist message regarding general and also in particular to feminism, because she is towing the line of the patriarchal society, because everything is failure when individuality come up, like Dorothea or Rosamond, they are destined to fail as she described it. She could have make a positive, in my opinion, she could have given a positive message. Anybody want to comment about this?
Yeah, anyone would like to,
That's the reality even today,
comment
sir.
on what?
That's the reality of marriage even today, sir. It's not always a fantasy reading. As a married woman, I can give you a hell lot of experience from my life, from my parents' life, from my friends' life. This is how marriage is. And what she trying to tell is this is what the reality is. She is not a woman writer with who wants to just give you a fantasy idea about marriage and give you a delusion idea
Correct,
about
correct.
marriage. She is just striking you with the reality of marriage, giving you an insight that this
Yes,
is how a messed up is marriage concept is even in 200 years ago and even today. I don't know
even
about
today,
others.
yes.
I have seen plenty of examples. Love, be it love
No, no,
marriage, arranged
absolutely.
marriage. Yeah, you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely support what
I
Uttara
mean,
is
quite,
saying. I've been married
maybe
for
not
10 years.
everything.
It's
Yes,
it's
correct. It's quite
okay, okay,
relatable,
okay.
sir, because people,
If
I mean,
you,
for every,
sir,
so that my
if
friends
you are
also,
having
plus
a happy
parents
marriage,
also,
1 minute, 1 minute, one
no,
minute,
different
if you
one at
people,
a
are having
time.
a happy marriage
Babita,
and if you, it's a,
Uttara, can you please,
yes, sir.
Uttara, 1 minute, one
Yes, sir.
minute.
Yes,
Can
sir.
we
I can
allow
wait.
Babita to talk? Yes,
okay.
yes. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Babita.
So this is this novel is like a reality check, and it's so true that it's relatable. Years back in the 18th century till the 21st century, there is some kind of relativity. It's the same. I mean, it's relatable. As now
Yeah,
also as women,
that
we
is
do
yes, correct,
experience
and
these
that is
things.
how you can your interpretation can be reflected.
Yes, sir.
And the kind of love what is shown in Pride and Prejudice, or for that matter Wuthering Heights, it is exactly the opposite of those fantasy like love stories, and someone who could love you for years and years, and even when you're not with them. And so this novel is completely the opposite of what we have read during Pride and Prejudice
The
session, or
other novels, yeah, yeah. Yes, Uttara, yes.
That's what I was trying to say, sir. See, we can see if the sir, the student, the Param sir, if he is blessed with a happy marriage, then yeah, we are happy for you. But that's not the reality. If his wife can make it out like being a positive, happy little woman who wants to work out the marriage, yeah, fine. But the reality is different. Everyone comes from a different social structure with different ideologies, and that is what it is. Like even if you are from a same middle class family or upper class family, your cultural differences are there. There are differences in the upbringing. Some are progressive, some are still behind. Even in 21st century they are way behind this very conservative. And we can't expect everything. We are giving education and you expect a woman to be adjustable. Like I'm saying, yeah, if you want to work out a marriage, it should be both the parties. It shouldn't be a woman's job to always surrender to everything. That is what I felt. If you want to
Yeah.
have a happy marriage, it should be both the parties.
So true.
Excuse me,
Yes,
excuse me, excuse me.
yes, yes.
I am totally, I am totally in
Sir,
agreement
one
with.
minute, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Okay, okay,
One
okay.
minute. If you sit down with your mother, if you sit down with your sister, if you sit down with your wife and ask them whether they are happy, like no regrets at all in their marriage life, you will weep for days listening to their problems. So you never know. You never know the reality
And then
until
you
you
get a
talk to
clear
those
picture.
people.
So you get a clear picture then.
Excuse me, excuse
Sir
me,
left. Sir left.
excuse me. Can I talk? Excuse me,
Sir cannot take this topic anymore, this debate.
Yeah.
excuse, excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, you can say.
Uh, I am totally in agreement with you. I, I have no doubt what you are telling is correct. Even in the 20th century, the things are like that. But as a fiction, she could have given a model and a positive image. That is
Is
what I am
the
telling.
sir?
That is what I am telling.
That is the
In spite of all the
if
hurdles.
you read, sir, I would like suggest you to do one thing. You just read block 3, the fiction, the idea about fiction is two types. Either you are writing an imaginary fantasy story, or you are giving what is exactly actually happening. That is the definition there. So writers took it seriously, and women writers were suppressed those times. So they wanted to, address the reality. They don't, and especially George Eliot was not the kind of woman who wants to go with the same ideology. She doesn't want to, encourage fancy reality. He to most of the women in the society that whatever you are doing is wrong. This is a reality. You can't live, because you have to understand the Dorothy character. If you ask me, I will say just because of reading all this fantasy stuff, she thought that her first husband was, she was blindly in love without even understanding that she wasn't even getting proper maturity of what people are, because she was immersed in the so-called happy ending romance. But reality is different, sir. That is why she faced that abuse and she failed her marriage. That is what he's trying to convey there.
See,
Thank you.
there are a lot of people. There are a lot of success stories now and then. Even ladies coming like Rani Lakshmi Bai and so many, Indira Gandhi, Hillary Clinton, like that. There are many success stories. You cannot totally negate all the successful lives of
So
ladies.
you
You
are
cannot say everything is.
talking about the exceptions. The thing is, you are talking about the exceptions, just like that, you're talking about the exception, but we are dealing with a social class, like the middle
I
class, the
am
upper
talking about the exception.
middle class, majority of the section.
Yes, that is what I'm telling. You could have portrayed a character that surpass all the hurdles and struggle to make
There
it
are a
into a
lot of
guy.
fiction
That
like
is
that,
what I
sir.
think.
Sir, to be very honest, there
Yes.
are so many fiction, just like how you are saying, there are so many fictions available out there. But expecting every other
That is
writer
what
to
I'm telling.
only
That
deal
is
with
what I'm
this kind
telling.
of stuff is wrong. That is
That
what
is
I'm
what I'm
also saying,
telling.
that you can't expect every writer to give happy ending.
No, yeah, that is right. But she could have a little positive light also. She could have given some positive light also. That is what I'm telling.
I think the class is over or what? Sir left and many people also left.
Class is over or not?
Yes,
The
I
time.
think so.
Yes,
Maybe.
those going to more debates, we are still on, but the class is over actually officially. I think sir has left.
Okay,
I'm
Ah,
okay,
pretty
good
yes,
night,
sure,
good
sir.
sir
night.
said
Okay.
my internet got off.
Actually, there's
He
nothing
sent in
personal.
the
I
group.
don't think
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
yeah.
Sir,
It
Sir
just
got
to
doesn't
disconnected.
personal,
because of here.
just
Take WhatsApp message.
Param is there. Okay.
According to
And
the
Param,
opinions and all.
actually, I think
Uttara,
there's nothing personal
Uttara, you
about this class. It's just a
recorded the class?
general, light-hearted, a discussion. That your perspective with Uttara's perspective and many others. It's just a
Yeah,
perspective. Nothing
yeah.
to aim at anyone as such.
Please, guys,
Thank
don't
you
stop.
very
I'm
Yeah.
much.
actually enjoying this. I'm like happy to hear all
Yes,
of your
yes. Even
thoughts.
even even
Please,
I'm
please continue.
yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you very
Thank you,
much for
sister.
your discussion, heated discussion.
And you know,
Thank you
sir,
very much. Thank
actually, I was very
No,
relate. I could relate the
this
many
will
things.
run into a, I am telling you, this will end up in a huge argument. Trust me, I'm all
Yeah,
up for
yeah.
all
It's a fact.
kind of
All
see,
for
I am
everyone to share.
someone who respect my
Excuse
culture.
me.
I follow my
I don't
culture,
want to.
but I am
Yes.
progressive also. That doesn't mean I am this fake feminist who just so men say that you are a fake feminist. You are talking about women's rights. I'm all agreeing with my culture and following my culture, and also I'm progressive in my
Yutra,
thoughts. So if someone says that women should do this, women should also men's part to do this.
Yutra,
Okay, so I want
Yutra,
respect from both the
Yutra,
parties. So whatever.
See,
Yes,
Yutra,
physically, what I feel,
Yutra,
physically
you are
and
coming from a different world, Madha. Madha,
Yutra,
you are
Yutra,
coming from a totally different world.
Yutra.
Very different.
now wait, I
Can
have
you
a
listen to me, please?
okay. Just give me one patient hearing 1 minute.
What do you mean there is
What I feel is that bodily male and female are different, which is an acceptance for my part. If you ask me, I would say
that yes, of course, people may have debated, no, we're the same. No, no, biologically not the same, but psychologically, of course, we both male and females have the right to have equality, have equal respect, mutual admiration. This everyone deserves it, irrespective of their gender. This is what I feel. If someone thinks otherwise, then at least I'm not agreeing to that.
What?
Okay, and now comes the responsibility part. That's our society has framed it that way. If a woman is there, however educated or whatever you are, ultimately you have to run the house and do the daily chores and those things. But the men should also take some interest and some kind of contribution. I'm not saying 50-50. It can be 20-80. It can be 80-20. Anyone, if whatever a person is good at, even irrespective of the gender, that person can do that contribution. It's not that
Yes.
and there's nothing to demean. Once we start respecting these things, the every work, household work, be it household work or outside, working outside in any office or whatever, in any workplace. Once we start respecting work as in general, I don't think these kind of issues will create. It's only whenever the monetary part comes in, there the problem arises. That just because people, I have sailed through this. I'll tell you.
Yes, I
Now
also think
partially I'm
so.
a housewife. Okay, I have a very small child to bring up, so I'm running after her all the time. But I managed to procure some money for myself on my own. But I was into full-fledged teaching. So I used to have a good corpus and those kind of stuff. I was fine with that. So as women, it's like, and nobody is sympathetic. I won't say nobody. Very few people are sympathetic about this. That okay, yeah, this is some kind of sacrifice. It's not sacrifice for people. It's like a general thing. Ki, you're the mother, so you have to take care of this thing. You're a wife, you have to take. It's not nothing like have to.
It's
It's
not a
nothing like have
mother's
to. That's what
excuse me, ma'am. I'm
I'm
so
so
sorry to
sorry to
interpret. The old ideology about women have to take the family responsibility and women doing it. It's not, I don't want to sacrifice. I'm decided for my family. But these people
exactly.
making
No.
it
I'm
as
not saying
women should sacrifice
yes,
everything.
yes.
That's
When it's a
that is
compulsion,
the whole
no,
point
no,
of
no, no. Okay, I'm
being
coming
saying
to
the
that.
relationship.
Uttara, I'm coming to that only.
Hello.
Listen, I'm saying that only. I'm not
Yes,
saying
sir.
Uttara that
Wait,
it is
wait, wait,
right.
Yeah,
sir
I'm
yeah.
saying
is
this is
wait, wait, please
I
wait here.
but I
Sir is
disagree.
telling something. Please listen to him what he
Yes,
is
sir.
telling. My God.
yeah. Babita and Uttara, everyone have their own perspective of, their own perspective. So, Babita, you have your own perspective, and Uttara, you can have your own perspective, and you know,
So,
and
No,
certain
I
things.
completely agree with Babita,
Please
ma'am. But
listen to me, please.
even
I'm only trying to say
even
No,
I
Uttara,
agree with you, Uttara. There's nothing
yeah.
to debate about.
No.
I'm also trying to say
That
the
is
same
what
point.
there are certain things which can be, because with the perspective, different perspective that we have, it can be debatable. So let us not talk much about this. Let us focus on the text, what the text is, and you can reflect your own perspective in your writings, in your while writing your answers. You can always reflect your perspectives. So I think today we had a good discussion, and I think we can end today's class here.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
sir.
Just
Thank
thank you,
you,
wonderful.
sir.
thank you,
Life full
everyone.
of life, sir. The class is full of life. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
sir.
much for the class and the heated
thank
discussion.
you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
sir.
Okay,
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
So it
Good
was
night,
a
sir.
Good night,
healthy
sir. Thank
discussion
you a
and
lot,
we
sir.
all
Thanks a lot.
liked it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.